The Forsaken Heir. Previous episodes are available on the playlist. You can also visit our website for your favorite stories. A link is provided in the video description. Episode 30. However, Orville didn't dare Lu Guang. Seeing Lu Guang's murderous look, he also looked at Lu Guang coldly, and then deliberately reached out and touched his forehead. With this touch of his forehead, Lu Guang trembled with anger. However, shaking, he really didn't dare to yell with Orville at this time. After all, Orville is much stronger than himself, and Regner also said that he is not qualified to be his dog, and he is still in the trial period. Thinking of this, Lu Guang felt uncomfortable to death. What kind of world this is? Be a dog for someone, and still have a trial period. However, the probation period is the probation period. As long as it can be converted, then he will have the strength to fight Orville. As the saying goes, if you can't bear it, you will make a big plan. This is called patience and humiliation. As the owner of Classic Mansion and one of the guests at this banquet, Orville naturally took the initiative to step forward and invited Regner to sit at the main seat of today's table, while Roger sat on his right. At this time, Regner's left position is still empty, and many people are staring at this position and want to sit closer to Regner. But because Lu Guang had been with Regner all the time, he made the quickest move. As soon as Regner sat down on the main seat, he rushed to the front and sat down on the left-hand side of Regner. Several people continued to compliment Regner, but Regner didn't say much, sitting still with majesty. After a few people took the initiative to say hello, Regner said, "I invite everyone to come today, mainly because I want to get to know you. I first came to Oris Hill, and I will inevitably have some things in Oris Hill in the future. I need help from everyone." Lu Guang was the first to stand up and smiled. "That's natural, Mr. Regner, you can value our Lu family. It is the blessing of our Lu family. We look forward to everything in the Lu family's head." He knew that what Regner needed now was someone to take the lead, so he bravely took the lead and spoke first. Regner glanced at him, nodded approvingly, and said, "Lu Guang, you will do things well in the future, and I will have your benefits." Lu Guang is indeed a little clever, knowing what he wants to hear right now. "Thank you, Mr. Regner, I will do my best to serve Mr. Regner well." The Zhao family and the Kevin family also hurriedly expressed their stance, and both of them were kneeling and licking, making it clear that they wanted to board the Wu family's ship. Only Solomon White, Qin Gang, and Orville looked at each other without saying anything. They knew that Regner wanted them to express their views. If they expressed their position here today to help the Wu family, it would be tantamount to officially announcing complete refuge in Wu family. However, the three of them just wanted to follow Charlie with all their heart, so they naturally couldn't express their opinions towards Regner. After all, in the eyes of these people, Charlie is the standard real dragon on Earth. Compared with him, no matter how strong the Wu family is, he is also immortal. Since he is immortal, what right does he have to compare with Charlie? Regner glanced at the three of them and said, "The three, it seems that some of you are not willing to work for the Wu family." Faced with Regner's problem, Solomon White smiled faintly and said, "Mr. Regner, it's true that we three have already been loyal to the end of the life. Therefore, if you want us to join the Wu family, forgive us, it is difficult to follow, Qin Gang touched his nose, and then said, Mr. White's meaning is also my meaning. Regner looked at Mr. Orville and asked, Orville, how about you? Mr. Orville smiled and said, I'm just a mess, I can't get on the stage, but I pay attention to the meaning of the word. The people I depend on now are very good to me, and I can't switch loyalties quickly. Regner frowned. He did not expect that the attitude of these three people would be so determined. He thought that all three of them were swearing allegiance to the Song family, and he was still wondering, what benefits did the Song family give them to make them so loyal? When Lu Guang heard what the three of them said, he stood up excitedly and pointed at the three of them and cursed, You guys, don't be shameless, do you know what the Wu family represents? I want to make it for the Wu family outside. Dog people, many can line up 2 streets, Wu always remembered that you are not lucky, you are what you dare to refuse. At this time, Regner reached out his hand to stop Lu Guang's questioning, and said lightly, Everyone has aspirations, and Wu does not force it. As he said again, however, even if you don't have allegiance to the Wu family, it's okay to help. Orville said indifferently, Mr. Regner, please say, as long as you don't violate the principle, it is naturally possible. Regner nodded and said, I came to Oris Hill this time. There are 2 main things. The first thing is that my Wu family has some trouble. Surely everyone is aware of it. No one answered, but the embarrassing expression said it all. Regner also knows that the matter of the second son is too detrimental to the dignity of the Wu family, and has made the Wu family a laughingstock in the hearts of countless people, but the more so, the more he can't wait to find the culprit who killed the second son. Therefore, he said with a cold face, the first thing is to help me find the person who harmed my second son. I am not very familiar with the situation in Oris Hill, so I have to rely on you for this matter. People pay more attention. If there is any news about this matter, please notify me in time. My Wu family will pay a lot of money. I personally promise that the reward will not be less than 100 million. 100 million, just to find a clue. It can be seen that the Wu family's handwriting is indeed very big. Lu Guang blurted out almost immediately, Mr. Regner, please rest assured, the Lu family must go all out. The patriarch of the Zhao family and the Kevin family, unwilling to be left behind, expressed their opinions one after another. Solomon White, Qin Gang, and Mr. Orville still did not express their views. Regner was a little frustrated, and asked, 3. Don't you want to give Wu this little face? Qin Gang and Solomon White and Mr. Orville looked at each other and said, It's not that we don't give up to President Wu. Now that President Wu has spoken, we will do our best to help. It's just that the 3 of us have relatively solid personalities and don't like to talk about everything. The other people who knelt and licked Regner's expressions were a bit unsightly, but they couldn't say anything. Regner nodded lightly. He already knows the attitudes of these 3 people. It's okay to help, but it's impossible to be a dog. If it was Regner's previous character, he would be mad at this time. But today's situation is special. He thinks business matters most, so he gave Qin Gang and the 3 of them coldly and then continued, This is the first thing, the second thing, and it has something to do with Warnya, the lady from Song family. Song family. Orville frowned and said, Mr. Regner, Miss Song treats us very well. If you want to target Miss Song, I will never agree. Regner said indifferently, I'm not asking you to deal with the Song family, but my son fell in love with Warnya and wanted to marry, but Warnya seems to not belong to him, so I want you to help me find the one Warnya likes. Man, find him, I will have a great reward. Solomon White and the others immediately looked at each other again. If you want to say that Warnya already has someone she likes, then there can be no one else besides Mr. Wade. However, it is naturally impossible for them to say Charlie's name. Lu Guang asked diligently, Mr. Regner, do you want me to find this person and kill him? Regner waved his hand and said, we don't need your help for anything else in this matter. You just need to find this person for me. My Wu family will decide how to deal with it. Everyone at the dinner table had their own thoughts. This time the Wu family's treat, the two things turned out to be to find someone, and both were rewarded. If you can find a clue, you can also receive a generous reward. Regner said at this time, okay, there are so many things to ask everyone to help. Let's start eating now. I will offer you a drink first. Everyone picked up their wine glasses and had a drink with Regner. At this time, Lu Guang pleased Regner and said, Mr. Regner, I don't know how the second young master is now. Hearing his question, Regner frowned instinctively. Which pot are you really supposed to open? However, since he wanted to collect a few dogs for his own use, of course he couldn't be too demanding on the dogs as soon as he came up, so he shook his head and said, nothing gets better, I have sent him back to Wu's house. Lu Guang hurriedly said, Mr. Orville, I know that a genius doctor came to Oris Hill recently. It is said that he is extremely skilled. He used to treat big figures in East Cliff and Zonghai. Why don't you see him for the second young master? Oh! Regner put down his chopsticks and hurriedly asked, who is the genius doctor you are talking about? What is the name? Lu Guang hurriedly replied, it is the well-known genius Dr. Tian Kai, who is said to be much more skilled than the doctors in the National Medical Center. Regner was surprised and said, the genius Dr. Tian Kai is in Oris Hill. How did I hear that he has been in Zonghai? It is said that the Wu family is the first family in the south of the Yangtze River, but that does not include Zonghai. Zonghai is a municipality with the best economic development in the country. Like East Cliff, there are many great people living there. It was said that Tian Kai spent most of his time in Zonghai, and occasionally went to East Cliff to see the rich and powerful. Regner naturally heard about it, but he did not expect that Tian Kai would be in Oris Hill. After all, Oris Hill is only a second-tier city. Compared with Zonghai, East Cliff is far behind. Lu Guang laughed, and hurriedly said, I don't know why, the genius Dr. Tian Kai suddenly came to Oris Hill, and opened a clinic directly in Oris Hill. Now that place is hot, many rich people are willing to spend millions in consultation fees. After speaking, Lu Guang said again, I heard that a high-level paraplegia has been cured by God Dr. Tian Kai some time ago, and the whole world is shocked. Really? Regner was instantly ecstatic when he heard this. Never imagined that Oris Hill still has a genius doctor like Tian Kai. If you find him to help, the second son's problem may be saved. Regner was very excited to learn that Tian Kai was in Oris Hill. He has long heard that Tian Kai's medical skills are superb, since he can cure even the impossible disease of high paraplegia, the strange disease of that second son, Wu Qi, must be no problem for him. Thinking of this, he was in a good mood and said to Roger next to him, "Tomorrow morning, prepare a generous gift. Let's go to the clinic to see Tiankai." Roger nodded and said, "Okay Dad, I will prepare." "Yeah," Regner said with a rare smile on his face, and said with a relaxed face, "It is best to solve all the problems at once, cure your brother, find the culprit who hurt your brother, and then find Warnya's sweetheart. I hope your brother can return to normal and participate in your wedding with Warnya as a normal person." Roger hurriedly said, "Dad, don't worry, all your expectations will come true. When I get my wedding, let my brother be my best man." Regner nodded with great relief, and sighed, "It really is the son of Regner." Roger had a pious smile on his face, but he was a little upset in his heart. When his brother was fine, he didn't think much about fighting for inheritance with his brother in the future. After all, his brother hadn't graduated from college, and he hadn't started contacting those businesses in the family. But now that something happened to his brother, he suddenly realized that it was a great thing for him. Therefore, he does not want his brother to return to normal. But father, he couldn't disobey him, so he could only hope that Tiankai would not be able to cure his brother's strange disease. At this time, several other people at the dinner table were constantly complimenting Regner, and even took the initiative to stand up and humbly toast him. Orville, Solomon White, and Qin Gang all could see that the Wu family and his son wanted to find Mr. Wade. Once they realized that Warnya's sweetheart was Mr. Wade, they would soon take action on Mr. Wade. Moreover, Orville has been in the rivers and lakes for a long time, fighting and killing for decades. He has more eyes than ordinary people, and his sense of smell is much sharper than ordinary people. Therefore, he carefully figured out the whole thing, and suddenly felt that the person who made Wu Qi have to eat shit every hour was Mr. Wade. After all, this kind of unheard of mysterious things, apart from Mr. Wade, Orville really couldn't think of anyone in Oris Hill who could do it. However, the only question that bothered him was why Mr. Wade had enmity with Wu Qi. That kid Wu Qi is only in his early 20s this year, a few years younger than Mr. Wade. Moreover, he is not a member of society, but a student of Oris Hill University of Finance and Economics. He doesn't get along with Charlie at all, so the two shouldn't have the chance to get enemies. Suddenly, Orville thought of a clue. He remembered that Aoxu, Qin Gang's daughter, seemed to be studying at Oris Hill College of Finance and Economics. Originally, he felt that there was no necessary connection between Mr. Wade and Wu Qi, but now, he found a possible connection between Mr. Wade and Wu Qi. The bond of this connection is Aoxu. Could it be because of Aoxu that Mr. Wade and Wu Qi had an intersection or even a contradiction? Because, if there were no contradictions, Mr. Wade could not deliberately turn Wu Qi into an unheard-of shit-swallowing beast. In his impression, Mr. Wade is extremely low-key, and he never reveals anything. Generally, if others don't have eyesight and provoked Mr. Wade's head, Mr. Wade will take action. Therefore, if his own conjecture just now holds true, then Mr. Wade must have contradicted Wu Qi through Aoxu. Thinking of this, Mr. Orville suddenly felt a little worried. He could see that Regner hated those who hurt Wu Qi deeply, and he was extremely angry with the man Warnya liked. If these two things point to two people, both of them will undoubtedly die. At least in Regnar's eyes, they are both targets that must be killed. If these two things point to the same person, then the Wu family is afraid that they will do everything they can to kill this person. Therefore, he couldn't help worrying about Mr. Wade. Although he knew that Mr. Wade was very strong, he was still a little worried in the face of a big family like the Wu family. After the dinner, everyone sent Regnar and Roger to the downstairs of Classic Mansion. The dogs including Lu Guang had to accompany Regnar and Roger to the parking lot. Orville, Solomon White and Qin Gang did not go with them, but after saying goodbye, they looked at each other and returned to Classic Mansion. Back in Orville's office, Qin Gang said with some worry, "Too, the Wu family seems to be trying to find Mr. Wade, and it's not good for Mr. Wade. What should we do?" Solomon White sighed and said, "Ms. Warnia's thoughts on Mr. Wade are obvious to all, but only those of us know about it, and outsiders don't." Orville waved his hand and said, "If the Wu family really bothers to inquire, this kind of thing will not be able to hide it. Not only do we know this, but the people of the Song family also know. I have seen the details of Miss Warnia getting along with Mr. Wade. People will know sooner or later." Orville said with a stern face, "I am not only worried about this." After speaking, Orville asked Qin Gang, "Ms. Qin, Miss Aoxiu, is studying at Oris Hill College of Finance and Economics?" "Yes." Qin Gang said with a smile, "Oris Hill College of Finance and Economics is one of the best financial universities in China. Among them, the business management major is particularly powerful. I want her to study business management experience here so that she can help me better." Orville nodded and said, "Then you should know that the second son of the Wu family, Wu Qi, is also attending Oris Hill School of Finance and Economics." "I know." Qin Gang nodded and asked, "What's wrong?" Orville said, "I now suspect that Wu Qi has become like this, thanks to Mr. Wade." "What?" Qin Gang and Solomon White both looked shocked. Qin Gang asked, "Why do you say that?" Orville said, "I think the greatest possibility is because of Miss Aoxiu. If you want to confirm, Mr. Qing can call Ms. Aoxiu and ask if she knows about Wu Qi." Qin Gang's expression gradually became serious. He thought for a moment, nodded and said, "I will call Aoxiu now." After speaking, he took out his mobile phone and called Aoxiu immediately. Aoxiu was practicing fighting in villa at this time. In the Qin's villa, there is a huge room, which is specially reserved for Aoxiu as a gym and exercise room. Aoxiu has been obsessed with fighting Sanda since she was a child, and she must practice at home as long as she has time. Since getting to know Charlie, Aoxiu practiced harder and harder. In her mind, she felt that Mr. Wade has such a strong strength, he would definitely not like a weak woman. Therefore, she must work hard to improve her own strength, even if it is impossible to catch up with Mr. Wade, she can't make him look down upon herself. Aoxiu sweated like rain, panting for breath. Having completed several sets of actions she planned, she stopped and carefully observed herself in the mirror in front of the huge floor mirror. One can say that Aoxiu's figure is very good. Due to regular exercises, her figure is somewhat muscular, with better and more perfect lines than ordinary girls. At this time, she wore a crisp ponytail, a tight-fitting vest for practicing exercises, and a pair of hot pants that hugged her waist, hips, and legs. She looked really hot. And when she admired her figure, what came to her mind was Charlie. She felt ashamed when she thought of Charlie, and her pretty face flushed suddenly. Dad has always asked her to find ways to get closer to Mr. Wade, but Mr. Wade usually sees the dragon without seeing the end, and even if she wants to find him, there is no suitable reason. Last time she asked him for help to save her girlfriends, she did not expect that Mr. Wade not only helped her girlfriend relieve the other's psychological hints and thought control but also turned Wu Qi into the laughingstock of the whole country. This method simply made Aoxia worship him more. She has always liked men with strong strength, and the kind of man who can completely conquer her body and mind, let herself love him, believe in him, obey him, and even listen to him. Charlie is the best candidate. Just when she missed Charlie so much, her mobile phone rang on the ground. The phone's ringtone disrupted her thoughts. She looked down and found that it was her father who was calling and hurriedly picked up the connection. "Dad!" Qin Gang hummed, and said solemnly, "Aoxia, Dad has something to ask you, you must answer truthfully." Aoxia didn't know why her father was so serious, so she hurriedly said, "Dad, ask. I will answer your questions truthfully." Qin Gang asked, "You tell me the truth, did you ask Mr. Wade to deal with Wu Qi affairs?" "Ah." Aoxia said flusteredly, "Dad, how did you know? Mr. Wade told you." Qin Gang was shocked. It really is him. This girl movie. Why let Mr. Wade help her deal with the second son of the Wu family? Isn't this causing trouble for Mr. Wade? Thinking of this, he blurted out and said, "I asked you to go to the School of Finance and Economics to get educations, not to make trouble for Mr. Wade. Don't you know what Wu Qi background is? Let Mr. Wade deal with it. Why did you do that?" Aoxia said aggrieved, "I don't know. I only know that Wu Qi family is quite rich. I really don't know the details." After speaking, Aoxia said again, "Besides, I really didn't find Mr. Wade to deal with Wu Qi. It's just that Wu Qi used online tricks to control my good girlfriends, causing my girlfriend to commit suicide several times. I had no choice but to go to Mr. Wade for help. Moreover, I intended to ask Mr. Wade to help save my girlfriends. I didn't expect Mr. Wade to be very dissatisfied with Wu Qi, so he taught him a lesson, saying that he can't let him harm others." "Hey!" Qin Gang sighed long, and said, "You have harmed Mr. Wade. Now the Wu family has found it. They are summoning all of Oris Hill's clever families, and are inquiring about Mr. Wade." "Hey!" Aoxia panicked and blurted out, "Dad, shouldn't the Wu family be troubled with Mr. Wade?" Qin Gang said, "The Wu family wants Mr. Wade's life." Aoxia cried anxiously all of a sudden, and said hurriedly, "Dad, this incident was caused by me. Can you tell the Wu family and just say that Wu Qi is my victim? I don't want to involve Mr. Wade because of me." "Are you stupid?" Qin Gang sighed, "Which is such a reasonable person in the Wu family? Since Wu Qi went crazy through the hands of Mr. Wade, then the Wu family would definitely not let Mr. Wade go. If they knew it was you who found Mr. Wade, then they will only want to get rid of you and Mr. Wade. What should I do then?" Aoxia cried and said, "Dad, I really didn't mean to cause trouble to Mr. Wade. Mr. Wade is not in danger, right? Qin Gang said, the Wu family hasn't found out that it is Mr. Wade yet, but you have to make it clear to me, who knows about this? Aoxu said, only I and Mr. Wade know. Only you two? Qin Gang asked puzzledly, where is your girlfriend? Doesn't she know? Aoxu said, it's very strange that she didn't remember Mr. Wade at all. When she recalled this incident, she didn't remember the existence of Mr. Wade at all. She just remembered that she suddenly seemed to have an epiphany. She must live well and serve the society and contribute to it. Qin Gang couldn't help sighing, Mr. Wade's methods are really superb. Not only Wu Qi can't remember him afterwards, but girlfriend can't remember him as well. Speaking of this, Qin Gang said again, this way, I feel relieved, but you must remember not to talk about this to other people, do you understand? Aoxu hurriedly said, Dad, I understand. Yet, Qin Gang exhorted, in order to prevent trouble to Mr. Wade, you have taken it with you in school during this period of time. Don't contact Mr. Wade to avoid being discovered about this relationship. Do you understand? Aoxu felt a little disappointed and sad when she heard her father say not to let her contact Mr. Wade. But then she thought about it. This is also to prevent causing trouble for Mr. Wade, so she agreed and said, Dad, I know, don't worry, I will be obedient. Yet, Qin Gang relieved his heart and said, okay, let's do this first, Dad is still okay. After speaking, he hung up the phone. As soon as the phone hung up, Solomon White hurriedly asked, Old Qin, Wu Qi, is it really the work of Mr. Wade? Qin Gang nodded with a serious expression, then looked at Orville, and said seriously, Mr. Orville, really you analyze it right? Orville said, do we want to talk to Mr. Wade? Let him be prepared and also be prepared. Of course. Qin Gang hurriedly said, not only must we clarify these things, we also have to show our attitude, otherwise, if Mr. Wade knows that we are eating with Regner, but it will also be even more troublesome if we misunderstand that we are standing in line with Regner, as he said. Qin Gang sighed and said, if I knew that the Wu family and his son wanted to deal with Mr. Wade and beat him to death, so I won't come to this dinner. Yet, Orville cursed, I also think that the Wu family is also the first family in the south of the Yangtze River. Since I am hosting a banquet in my mansion, I must be considerate, but I never expected that this pair of dogs and sons wanted to deal with Mr. Wade. If I knew this earlier, I would rather offend the Wu family than let him host a banquet in my classic mansion, especially the diamond box that Mr. Wade sat in. Solomon White blurted out, the three of us have had the chance of Mr. Wade. The magic medicine that Mr. Wade gave me is still stored next to my body. Therefore, the three of us must be dedicated to Mr. Wade's. The top priority now is to follow Wade. Orville explained clearly, we must let Mr. Wade know our attitude. Qin Gang nodded and said, well, then, I will call Mr. Wade. Charlie had just eaten dinner at this time and was in the kitchen packing the dishes. When Qin Gang called him, he pressed the answer and asked, Ms. Qin. Qin Gang hurriedly replied, Mr. Wade, there is something, I have discussed with President White and Mr. Orville, and I think I want to report it to you. Charlie smiled indifferently, and said, if you have anything, just say it directly, Don't be so polite with me. Qin Gang hurriedly said, Okay, Mr. Wade, then I'll just say it straight. Today, Regner from the Wu family in Suzhou hosted a banquet for some local family leaders, including me, Solomon White, and Mr. Orville. He ordered some things about us. We feel that these things are a little bit wrong, so we decided to report to you. Hearing that it was a treat by the Wu family, Charlie asked, Why did the Wu family look for you? Qin Gang explained, Wu Qi of the Wu family had something wrong some time ago. The Wu family is looking for clues everywhere, trying to dig out the black hand behind the scenes. I called Aoxu just now, and she confessed to me. Now the Wu family is thinking to find you. Charlie smiled indifferently and said, Wu Qi things are indeed what I did. The main reason is that I couldn't tolerate that kid's behavior. It's okay to fall in love with girls, but it's unforgivable to play with others deliberately and even hurt others. So I taught him a little lesson, at least so that he can no longer hurt others in the future. Qin Gang's expression instantly shrank. Not surprised at what Charlie did, but surprised at Charlie's confession and directness. It seems that in Charlie's eyes, turning the second son of the Wu family into a feces-swallowing beast is no different from pinching an ant, and there is no need to worry about the consequences. He couldn't help wondering, how confident is Mr. Wade? Even when facing the Wu family, he didn't care at all. In Oris Hill, anyone who mentions the Wu family must be a little bit in awe, but Mr. Wade doesn't pay attention to the Wu family at all. Qin Gang came back to his senses and quickly said, Mr. Wade, don't worry, all of us will be tight-lipped for you. If the Wu family really finds out that it is you and the trouble to find you, we will not agree. Charlie smiled and said, You don't need to be so nervous. If they want to get revenge, just let them come. When will they be afraid of Charlie? Charlie said with a smile, By the way, you can actually tell them directly that this is what I did. If he is unconvinced, let him come to me directly. Qin Gang quickly said, Mr. Wade, I know you definitely don't take Wu family in your eyes, but Wu family's status and strength in Oris Hill are still very powerful. If you really become enemies with them, it will be very troublesome in the future. After speaking, Qin Gang said again, Mr. Wade, I still recommend you to keep a low profile in this matter. Don't let the Wu family find out. Otherwise, you will inevitably have trouble in the future. Charlie smiled and said, Ms. Qin, you are interesting, but you don't need to care too much about this. When the time comes, soldiers will come to cover the water and earth, let it go. Okay. Qin Gang hurriedly said again, By the way, Mr. Wade, the Wu family had a treat today, there is actually one more thing. Charlie asked, What's the matter? Qin Gang said, The Wu family seems to want to marry Roger, the young son of Regner, to Ms. Warnia, but according to Regner, Miss Song has publicly stated to him that she already has someone she likes, so the Wu family still wants us to find that person too. With that, Qin Gang asked tentatively, Mr. Wade, Miss Song likes that person, isn't it you? Charlie paused slightly and said, Don't talk nonsense about this kind of thing. I'm a married man. If this kind of thing is talked about nonsense and spread out, it will have a great impact on the reputation of other girls. Qin Gang hurriedly said, Mr. Wade, forgive me, I will never say anything like this in the future. Yet, Charlie said lightly, Okay, you three don't have to worry about me, do whatever you should do, don't take it too seriously, it's just a Wu family, but I can't help it. In fact, Charlie knew very well in his heart that Warnya must have some good feelings about him. It's just that he didn't know how to deal with this kind of affection, so he just pretended to be dumb and froze, and talked about the other things later. The next day, Regner got up early. Because he was worried about looking for Tiankai to treat his second son Wu Qi, he didn't sleep well all night. Wu Qi's current situation is relatively pessimistic, the problem of eating shit has not been alleviated, and his own emotions have gradually collapsed. In other words, for such a long time, eating shit more than 20 times a day, he will collapse one day for sure. What's more, Wu Qi himself had grown up spoiled, and this kind of thing was even more terrifying to him than death. Therefore, Regner hopes that he can be cured as soon as possible, so that he can return to normal, and at the same time, to kill the person who harmed him, not only for revenge, but also for the permanent trouble solving. Because of this belief, Regner didn't even care about having breakfast at the Song's house, so he greeted his son Roger when he went to bed, took a few Wu's bodyguards, and went directly to clinic. In the car, Regner was full of excitement and expectation, but Roger felt a little bored. He even hopes that his brother Wu Qi will always be like this and save himself a lot of trouble. So he asked tentatively, "Dad, do you think that the doctor can really cure the younger brother?" "I believe there is no problem," Regner said indifferently, "if hyperplegia can be cured. I believe this problem with your brother is not a problem." Roger nodded, feeling a little upset. When the convoy arrived outside clinic, the bodyguard opened the door for Regner and his son. As soon as Regner got out of the car, he saw the entrance of the clinic, a long line had already been queued. He couldn't help sighing, it seems that this genius doctor is really well deserved. An assistant came up and said respectfully, "Mr. Orville, Tiankai only sees 10 patients every day, and it is not in the order of the line, but according to the severity of the disease. It is said that some are ranked first. Tiankai feels that there is no problem. If you don't need to do it yourself, you won't be shown. Instead, it's recommended to go to other hospitals." Yet, Regner glanced at the long line again. Seeing that there are 3 teachers and 9 ranks, he waved his hand in disgust and said to the bodyguard, "Take some cash from the trunk and give these people in line 1,000 each. Make them go away." The bodyguard nodded, immediately took some advanced from the trunk, came to the front of the team, and said loudly, "The clinic is closed today. Those of you who are in line, one person comes to me to collect 1,000, and then you can leave. Come back another day." The crowd was suddenly dissatisfied, and someone shouted, "Why? Following the rules set by the genius, anyone has to queue for treatment." The leader of the bodyguard snorted coldly, and cursed, "I gave you thousands for nothing, are you still here?" The man blurted out, 1,000? My mother is seriously ill, and I took her all the way to ask the genius doctor for help. Do you count this 1,000 as a bullshit? How about I give you 1,000 and you go away, is it okay? Grass mud horse, don't give me your face." The head of the bodyguard glared at him, and snorted coldly to the men next to him, "Beat that for me." With an order, a few bodyguards from a family background rushed up and grabbed the man with a punch and kick. There was a lady in her 70s next to the man. Seeing that they were beating her son, she cried and cried, "I beg you to stop beating him, can't we leave?" The head of the bodyguard scolded, "What did you do? You don't know how to praise." After finishing speaking, he kicked the middle-aged man aside, took out another 1,000, threw it on the man's face, and cursed, "Get out of here." The lady cried and pulled her son up with great effort. The people around were very angry when they saw this scene. But seeing the other party in such a battle and driving so many luxury cars, they knew that the other party was not easy to provoke. "Lord, so they can only swallow." Several bodyguards walked over with money, and when they met, they gave 1,000, plus 2 words, "Get out." Some people took the money and ran away. Some people were a little bit stubborn and unwilling to ask for their money, but because they couldn't provoke them, they had to swallow their anger and leave. At this time, a fellow of the people in the clinic heard the noise outside and stepped out. Upon seeing this scene, he immediately asked, "What are you doing? Why are you beating? Hit someone." The head of the bodyguard frowned, and said, "We belong to the Wu family of Suzhou, Hangzhou, and we should teach you something that is not long-sighted." After that, he looked around at the crowd again, and cursed, "Don't you hurry up? Is it itchy? Here today, if you don't treat other people, you're welcome to take care of me." The guy asked indignantly, "You are too much, right? Do you know our clinic rules? You have to queue for medical treatment." Roger said coldly, "The rules for administering geniuses are made for these poor people, but not for our Wu family. In Oris Hill, what our Wu family says is the rules. Today these people must get out because they are not worthy to appear with the Wu family in the same place." "You," the guy was furious and blurted out, "Why don't you make sense at all? You are too domineering." Roger said coldly at this time, "Boy, dare to talk to the Wu family like this, you not afraid, or you are tired of living?" The guy said, "Neither humble nor overbearing, the clinic is a place where gods can heal people and save people. Everyone here must abide by the rules set by God doctors." "Tian Kai." Roger snorted, and said, "In front of the Wu family, the genius she must obey the rules of my Wu family. If you don't believe it, let the genius she come out by himself." In fact, Roger deliberately wanted to be arrogant and domineering, and it was best to make Tian Kai resist the Wu family. In this case, Tian Kai might refuse to treat his younger brother, or deliberately hide. In short, what he wanted to do was to prevent his brother from being cured as much as possible. Regner hadn't spoken before, and when the bodyguard came out to drive people, he didn't speak either, because he felt that this was the Wu family's usual style of doing things. When the Wu family goes out, they never allow ordinary people to be like them, let alone ordinary people with them. Even if the Wu family goes out to visit a store, the bodyguard will definitely clear all the guests out of the store, allowing the Wu family to stroll around freely. They have long been accustomed to enjoying this detached treatment, so even if they come to Tian Kai to see a doctor, they don't want to be with these ordinary people. However, Roger's attitude at this time, in Regner's view, was a bit too rash. He felt that Roger could target these ordinary people, but he should not target Tian Kai. After all, Tian Kai is no ordinary person. This kind of genius doctor is very famous throughout the country, and he knows a lot of big people. I don't know how many big people ask him for diagnosis and treatment. Therefore, if you want to ask him to treat the younger son, you must be respectful." However, he didn't realize that this was Roger's intentional act. He only felt that he might have become domineering and confiscated his temper for a while. So he opened his mouth and said, "Roger, we are here to find a genius doctor to treat your brother, so we must not be rude." Roger said hurriedly, "I know, Dad, I didn't control my temper just now, please forgive me." Regner waved his hand and said to the fellow at the clinic, "Brother, please tell the genius Dr. Tiankai, just say that Regner from the Wu family has come to visit and wants to see him." Although the young man was very dissatisfied with this group of people, he was glared at by the other's bodyguard leader and did not dare to say anything, so he ran back to inform Tiankai. Tiankai quickly walked out with a cold face. He glanced at Regner and Roger in front of the door, then frowned and asked, "You guys will drive all my patients away without my consent? You are too unreasonable, right?" Regner smiled slightly, and said, "Mr. Shi, I am Regner from the Wu family, you must have heard of me." Tiankai said with a cold face, "It is said that the Wu family is the first family in the south of the Yangtze River. Only today I discovered that the Wu family really is so powerful." Regner smiled and said, "Don't be angry, genius Dr. Tiankai, let's go in and talk." After speaking, Regner stepped into the clinic on his own, not treating himself as an outsider. Tiankai was angry and snorted coldly, and said, "I'm sorry, the Wu family is so prestigious that she can't afford it, so we have nothing to talk about." Regner smiled slightly and said, "Why do you have to be a genius doctor for a group of poor people? You are a genius doctor recognized by upper-class society. Treating large families and big people is your greatest value. Treating these poor people cannot pay you what you deserve." Tiankai said earnestly, "I opened up this place to help the world, not to make money. I treat the poor, not only don't get a penny but sometimes give medicine and donate money. If it's just to make money, why should I have to settle in Oris Hill?" Regner was taken aback for a moment. He didn't expect Tiankai to not make money. He doesn't believe that someone does things not for money. The only possibility is that the money is not enough. So, he opened his mouth and said, "You have been working as a genius doctor. I have heard your name for a long time and know that you have no disease that cannot be cured, so I came today to ask you to see my young son." After that, he said again, "Let's do it, you close the store, I will arrange a special plane to take you to Suzhou, and I will give you 10 million when you visit. If it is cured, I will give you another 50 million. Tiankai waved his hand and said faintly, "Sorry, she only sits in clinic for a doctor now. Except for old friends, anyone who wants to see she for a doctor must come to clinic." After that, Tiankai added, "In addition, when you come to clinic to see a doctor, you must abide by my rules. I am disgusted with the behavior of driving away other guests like you, so I don't welcome you here." Tiankai has met many big people, and some of them have a higher status than Regner, but those big people are respectful to him. It was the first time he had met someone like the Wu family, arguing in front of him. Although the Wu family was the first family in the south of the Yangtze River, Tiankai was not afraid of them either, so he refused very simply. Regner frowned. He didn't expect this Tiankai to be so ignorant of admiration. He invited him to see his youngest son. He also promised a huge return. He didn't expect that he would refuse it. Annoyed, Regner said coldly, "Mr. Shi, I hope you can speak a little better. How famous and powerful the Wu family is, you don't need me to remind you." Tiankai snorted coldly and said arrogantly, "I have lived to this age, and my tone has always been like this. If you don't want to listen, you can go out." "You?" Regner was furious in his heart. Since arriving in Oris Hill, he felt that the people in this place were a bit strange. For some reason, there are thorns everywhere, and his Wu family's great reputation seems to be useless in this little city. Yesterday's dinner was also the case. Solomon White, Qin Gang, and Mr. Orville were all polite on the surface, and they didn't take their solicitation into consideration. Now, this Tiankai dare to pretend to be forced by himself? Is it true that Regner Wu's family in Oris Hill is the raptors above the rivers? Roger saw his father's eyes with anger, and immediately realized that the opportunity was coming, so he yelled, "Old master, how do you talk to my dad? Believe it or not, I smashed your hospital today." Regner stopped Roger and said to Tiankai with a smile, "Don't be surprised by the genius doctor. My son is a young man. Young people have a bad temper and are easy to impulse." After all, he suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "Mr. Shi the genius doctor, I came to you, just because we want you to go to Suzhou. Suzhou is not far away from Oris Hill. The special plane can be there in 1 hour, as long as you run. This time, I will give you 10 million, what do you think?" Tiankai shook his head and said lightly, "I can't cure your son, please go back." "You?" Roger immediately said angrily, "You old thing, you don't even know what the disease is, so you can't cure it by yourself? Are you kidding with our Wu family?" Regner, who was on the side, looked gloomy, looked at Tiankai coldly, and asked, "Dr. Tiankai, you seem to be targeting our Wu family." Tiankai gave them a cold look, and said, "You came here today and didn't abide by my rules and drove away from my patients. Are you not targeting me?" Regner said coldly, "I said, I only target the poor, they don't deserve to be under the same roof as Regner." Tiankai sneered and said, "What a joke! All beings are equal, can you still manage other people under the same sky?" Regner said, "I can't manage things under the sky, but I can manage things under the eaves." After he finished speaking, he said sharply, "Tiankai, I will pay you face to visit you personally, and also prepared a generous gift for you. If you promise me, I will give you the money, and I will give you the generous gift, but if you don't promise, that would make you an enemy of my Wu family." Tiankai said neither humble nor overbearing, "I said, I can't cure your son. If you have to be an enemy of me, then please be so. I will practice medicine for a certain life. Home, even if it's the East Cliff Sua family, or even the Wade family. The old master is nothing more than a life, just take it away." Regner's expression is very ugly. He didn't expect Tiankai to be so rigid. He just drove away those paupers and stinky silks, he even choked with himself. With Tiankai's attitude, Regner really wanted to slap his old face. After all, when has he been targeted? But thinking about it carefully, he still didn't dare to offend Tiankai. Tian Kai is a national expert in traditional medicine, the top traditional medicine doctor in the country. Don't know how many big people have been treated and taken care of by him. Even the big family and big people of East Cliff have also benefited a lot. If he really beat him, it will not be a good thing for his own PR and reputation. So, he could only endure the urge to do it first, snorted, and said, "She the genius doctor, you are also a benevolent generation of famous doctors, why are you so sloppy today? Even my youngest son hasn't seen it, so just talk about the treatment." "Not anymore." Having said that, he said again, "You can do nothing, but I want you to say this after you meet Wu Qi. So, to be a genius doctor, please take the initiative and take a trip to Regner." Tian Kai said coldly, "Regner, what is the virtue of your little son, don't you know? Don't talk about you, even I, old master, have heard of his deeds. He has money and spoil young girls everywhere, and is particularly keen on brainwashing and controlling young girls' thoughts so that he is happy and proud of making young girls self-harm or even commit suicide. For such a person, even if Tian Kai died, I would not give the treatment." Regner was also furious at this time. He thought in his heart, "Mr. Shi, I have tolerated you for a long time, and you still toast not to eat or drink fine wine, you are looking for death." Immediately, he said coldly, "Tian Kai, you mean, you must go against our Wu family?" Tian Kai said indifferently, "What you want to see is your freedom, but no matter what you say, I won't treat your son. Please feel free to leave." Regner's eyes were cold and sharp, and he said, "It seems that my Wu family is not walking around in Oris Hill." After all, staring at Tian Kai, he questioned, "Mr. Shi, have you ever thought about the consequences of offending Wu family?" "Consequence? What is the consequence?" Tian Kai sneered and said, "Could it be that the Wu family is still planning to kill Shi?" Regner's murderous intent was in his eyes. At this moment, he really moved to kill. But he also knew very well that Tian Kai was incapable of killing. Kill him, if someone with high morals needs to ask him for medical treatment, then he will be in a big disaster. After a moment of silence, Regner said with a dark face, "I won't kill you, but if you don't put my Wu family in your eyes and spread it out, my Wu family will be ashamed. So I let you know what it means to offend the Oris Hill First family." As soon as the voice fell, he immediately yelled at the bodyguard next to him, "Come here, give me his shop." Tian Kai suddenly yelled and rebuked, "Regner, dare you?" Regner snorted coldly and scolded angrily, "Mr. Shi, I know you know a lot of big people. If I really kill you, I might really have to weigh it, but if I smash your clinic, I have what dare not." After speaking, Regner screamed, "I tell you, in the future, Tian Kai only has to dare to open a clinic, and if you open one, I will destroy one. I want to see if anyone can help you out." As soon as Regner's words fell, his bodyguards immediately swarmed. These practitioners kicked their feet on the medicine racks on all sides, knocked all the Chinese medicinal materials to the ground, and smashed all the medicine pots into a mess. In the blink of an eye, the huge clinic turned into a mess. Tian Kai's beard trembled, but he knew that he couldn't resist, so he could only watch them smash with cold eyes. After a mess, the shop has been ruined and it is not what it looks like. Regner just snorted coldly and said, "Mr. Shi, I will give you 3 days to consider. Before you promise me, if your clinic dares to reopen, I will smash it again until you agree. Do it for yourself." After that, he turned around and left with Roger and his bodyguard. The young fellow of the clinic, seeing the clinic being smashed, cried and said to Tian Kai, "She genius doctor, let's call the police." Tian Kai waved his hand and said lightly, "No, Wu's hands and eyes are open to the sky, and that will not solve any problems." The boy hurriedly asked, "What should I do?" Tian Kai said indifferently, "We will repair the clinic together and reopen as soon as possible." The boy said, "But the guy said just now, if you reopen, he will come to smash." Tian Kai said indifferently, "I'm here. Is it because I am afraid he will hit the shop again? Should I not open the clinic? I have studied medicine for a whole life, and I will stop seeing people because of the fear that he will hit the shop." Seeing Tian Kai's expression indifferent, the young man couldn't help sighing for the courage of the old genius doctor, as well as his kind-heartedness, healing and saving heart. So he hurriedly asked, "Would you like to call Sisters Jovius so that she can come back as soon as possible? She is still waiting to pick you up to attend the birthday banquet of the Song family." Tian Kai nodded, and then remembered that today is the birthday of Mr. Song. A few days ago, when Mr. Song came to see him for treatment, he had already told about his 80th birthday and invited him to participate. Yesterday, Zhovia drove to Zhonghai to prepare a birthday gift for Mr. Song. She was ready to come back this morning, and then pick him up and go to Song's house together. At this moment, he suddenly thought that the Wu family and his son are said to live in the Song family now. That being said, the Wu family father and son will definitely attend the birthday banquet at noon. When he thought of this, Tian Kai decided not to attend the birthday banquet. When the time comes, he will meet with the Wu family and his son. If he can't restrain himself from quarreling with them, he will add trouble to the old man's birthday star of song. Therefore, it is better not to go. It just so happens that he has no intention of attending the birthday banquet now. The clinic was smashed, and all he was thinking about now was to quickly restore it. Moreover, he knew that he couldn't let go of the clinic in his heart. Even if he forcibly let go of the clinic's things and went to the birthday banquet of Song Old Master, he must have been absent-minded, and all his thoughts were still on the clinic. If Mr. Song sees any clues, it will be difficult to explain. Therefore, after deliberation, he called the old Master Song, excuses his health, and made up his mind with him, so this birthday banquet he will not go. The old Master Song cared for a while, and he was relieved when he heard that he was only slightly affected by the cold, but he couldn't force it, so he made an appointment with Tian Kai and got together again in private. At this time, the Wu family and his son were returning to the Song family from the clinic by car. Originally, Regnar's plan was to come over and tell Tian Kai about the situation, that Tian Kai would definitely save the Wu family. Then he immediately prepared to go to Suzhou to treat his younger son Wu Qi. When that time, he would let the special plane take him there. The son first attended Father Song's birthday banquet, and then returned to Suzhou. Unexpectedly, although the plan is beautiful, the reality is extremely cruel. Tian Kai directly rejected Regnar's invitation. Not only that, but also said that his youngest son was on his own account, which made him angry. Even when he got in the car, he still cursed and said, "Tian Kai, an old dog, really doesn't know how to praise. If it weren't for worrying about getting into trouble, I really wanted his life. Roger on the side was very happy. He was always worried that Tian Kai could really cure his younger brother, but after he came here, Tian Kai directly refused to treat his younger brother. As a result, he was completely missing a strong enemy on the path of inheriting the Wu family. However, he was not good at expressing this emotion, so he whispered, "Dad, or just find a few killers, and come over and wipe the neck of this old thing one night." "No." Regner blurted out, "Although this old thing doesn't have much money, many big people owe favors to him, and even count on him to prolong their life. Killing him is tantamount to pronouncing the death of many big people in advance, and Wu family will become the target of public criticism." Roger nodded and said, "Follow what you just said, Dad. As long as he dares to open the clinic in the future, we will smash it." Regner said, "That's just a little intimidation to the old thing. It's best to force him to agree to see your brother." Roger was a little nervous, and blurted out, "Dad, that old thing doesn't agree to it." Regner said, "So I am going to ask Mr. Song to help me intercede." Roger said hurriedly, "Dad, today is the birthday banquet of Mr. Song. It is not appropriate to say this, right?" "You're right." Regner nodded, and said, "Then talk about it tonight or tomorrow." Then Regner said to Roger, "Warnya, you have to hurry up, find ways to cultivate relationships, and get her to agree to the marriage as soon as possible." Roger nodded and said, "Father, don't worry, I have instructed that Lu Guang to help me carefully prepare a gift. I will give it to her in a while. I believe she will like it." Regner hummed and said, "This woman is very capable. If we can marry her, it will be a great help to our Wu family. Then you will inherit the family business and have her as your wise helper. Your grandfather can rest assured." Roger showed an expression of determination, "Dad, don't worry, I will marry Warnya home, she can only be my woman." While talking, the car has reached the door of Song's house. Outside the main entrance of the villa area where the Song family is located, the lights have already been illuminated. As the actual controller of the first family of Oris Hill, Mr. Song can be regarded as a high authority, and his birthday banquet is naturally very grand. Although it has not yet officially started, many guests have arrived after hearing the news and waited outside the gate of the villa area. After all, the Song family is the first family in Oris Hill, and there are so many small families attached to it. Therefore, no one dare to neglect the birthday banquet of Mr. Song. At this time, outside the door of the villa area, although Lu Ming's father Lu Guang was not invited, he had been waiting here for a long time. Seeing that the Wu family's father and son's car came back, he immediately greeted them with an extremely exquisite gift box. When the car window was lowered, Lu Guang immediately said to Roger flatteringly, "Mr. Roger, the gift you want me to prepare is ready. The masterpiece of the top Italian jewelry designer Mr. Fischer, you gave me 100 millions. After spending it, it cost 98 million. Roger took the gift box in his hand and opened it. It was a beautifully shaped bracelet inlaid with dozens of pink natural diamonds, which was very valuable. Regner on the side asked, "Is this bracelet prepared for Warnya?" "Yes." Roger said with a smile, "The bracelet she is wearing now looks very rubbish. It is estimated to be worth hundreds of thousands. Believe that, when you give this one, she will love it. Seeing that his son had begun a clear offensive, Regner nodded in satisfaction, and praised, "That's right, Roger, you have learned to observe the moves and have a definite target." Roger smiled and said, "Dad, I have been with you for so long, and I have learned a little bit from you, but compared to you, it is still far behind." "No," Regner said seriously, "you can observe that Warnya's bracelet is relatively old and worthless. This is already a big improvement. You can buy a better one to please her and prove that you are doing things now. Much more mature and stable, not bad, not bad. Very good." Roger was praised, and he was overjoyed. Seeing Lu Guang's Poog's eyes were also a little bit satisfied. He smiled and said, "Lu Guang, this bracelet is really beautiful. You did this well. In the future, if you do things for me seriously, I will not treat you badly." Lu Guang respectfully said, "Yes, Mr. Wu, I will do my best for you." After all, he hurriedly handed over another 2 million check, saying, "Mr. Wade, this is the remaining 2 million. Seeing Lu Guang's sincere attitude, Roger said with satisfaction, "You can keep these 2 million. Although Lu Guang didn't care about the 2 million, he also realized that this was the reward given to him by young Mr. Orville, so he nodded excitedly and said in gratitude, "Thank you, young master." Regner on the side looked at Lu Guang with a little bit of appreciation in his heart. Unexpectedly, this Lu Guang not only has a sufficiently pious attitude, but also works more simply and neatly. And he was the first dog to surrender after the Wu family came to Oris Hill. Therefore, Regner felt that Lu Guang should also be given some real sweetness. So he opened his mouth and said, "Lu Guang, did they invite you to the birthday banquet of Mr. Song today?" Lu Guang smiled bitterly, and said, "Master, let's not hide it from you, how can I be invited by the Song family with my identity? In fact, many people, like Lu Guang, are not qualified to participate in the birthday banquet of Mr. Song, but they still dream of having the opportunity to participate. This is because Mr. Song's birthday banquet invites all top figures in Oris Hill. It is uniquely convenient to expand contacts here." Regner looked at Lu Guang, smiled slightly, and said, "You can't get in by yourself, but now you are a member of my Wu family, then I will take you in to meet the world, and let the people in Oris Hill know that you are from the Wu family now." Lu Guang showed ecstasy, "Thank you, Mr. Orville, for giving me this opportunity. I will definitely do things for you and Master." For him, the birthday banquet of the Song family was not something he was qualified to attend. Now Regner is willing to take him in. This alone is enough to make him grateful. At this time, Regner said lightly, "Okay, let's get in the car, go in first." Lu Guang hurriedly sat in the seat of the co-pilot respectfully, and followed the Wu family and his son into the house of the Song family villa. The father and son's car had just stopped in the courtyard of the Song's villa. As soon as they got out of the car, they saw Warnya hurried out of the villa wearing an extremely dignified red dress. Today's Warnya has just put on her makeup carefully, so she is more beautiful than usual. Roger was stunned. It took a moment to come back to his senses. Seeing that Warnya had gotten into her car, he hurriedly pulled Warnya's car door and asked, "Warnya, where are you going?" Warnya said blankly, I'm going to pick up a distinguished guest. Roger said disdainfully, what distinguished guest is worth Warnya to condescend to pick up in person? Warnya said lightly, of course it is the most important guest. After speaking, Warnya said in a convenient way, please let go of my car door, I am leaving. Roger felt a little sullen. He didn't expect that he and his father were in front of Warnya. Warnya even said that there are the most important guests. Who in Oris Hill is more important than himself and his father? In other words, in Oris Hill, whose face can be greater than that of the Wu family? Although he was very upset, Roger said very gentlemanly, by the way, Warnya, I specially prepared a gift for you, I don't know if you like it or not. Warnya frowned and said, Mr. Roger, you should take the gift back. I don't need anything. You don't have to spend so much. Besides, I can't just accept your gift. Roger hurriedly took out the gift box Lu Guang gave him, and said seriously, Warnya, what are you being so polite with me? I mainly saw that the string you wore was very old several times. I feel a little distressed for you. You are the dignified Miss Song, how can you wear such simple and crude jewelry? Speaking of this, Roger has already taken out the bracelet he bought and said, Warnya, this bracelet is the work of Italian jewelry designer Fischer. This is the only one in the world, worth over 100 million. I bought it for you. Only such a bracelet can match your identity and temperament. The bunch of rubbish in your neck should have been thrown into the rubbish can. Roger thought that all women in the world love jewelry, especially precious jewelry, so Warnya must not be an exception. Therefore, the bracelet he bought at a high price will definitely touch Warnya's heart. However, he did not expect that Warnya's face suddenly sank after listening to his words. Looking at Roger's eyes, with unprecedented anger and disgust. The bracelet on her wrist is really worthless, and it does look a little dirty and old. But this bracelet is a relic left by her mother. For so many years since her mother's death, this bracelet has been worn on her hand and cared for, and it has an extraordinary meaning to her. At the beginning, it was accidentally locked by the trapped dragon formation in Feng Shui. She almost died in several car accidents and didn't make her afraid, but lost this chain of bracelets, which made her extremely painful and inferior to death. For this reason why she invited the Fool Master Lai from Hong Kong in order to change her fortune and then find this bracelet. However, that time, she was almost killed by the fake master. If Charlie hadn't penetrated his own experience at a glance, and helped her resolve the trapped dragon formation, she might have lost her life. And the reason why this bracelet can be retrieved is completely thanks to Charlie. If Charlie hadn't broken the trapped dragon formation, how could she have this luck to retrieve this bracelet? This shows how important this bracelet is to her. However, the bracelet that is so important to her and the bracelet that entrusts all her feelings and longings for her mother is turned out to be rubbish for Roger. He said that it should be thrown into the rubbish can. This just made Warnya angry, almost exploding. She pushed away the hand of Roger shaking the diamond bracelet, and said coldly, Roger, this bracelet is a relic left by my mother. It is more precious than my life. Why do you insult it? Roger was stunned. What? This broken bracelet turned out to be a relic left by Warnya's mother? Isn't this picking up a rock and hitting yourself in the foot? Just when Roger was extremely upset and didn't know how to remedy it, Warnia angrily closed the car door, kicked the accelerator, and drove away. Roger stood on the spot dumbfounded. His expression was much uglier than his brother who eats shit every hour. At this moment, Roger wanted to die. He never dreamed that the broken bracelet on Warnia's wrist turned out to be a relic left by her mother. And he actually said that the relics her mother left for her was garbage. This is really a catastrophe accidentally. Warnia herself is not too cold to him. He originally wanted to rely on this bracelet to give himself a wave of points. Unexpectedly, it turned out to be self-defeating trick and suddenly dropped a wave. Now his score in Warnia's mind is already reduced to a negative score. Regner, who was not far away, was a little puzzled looking at his son's back on the spot. Didn't he came here to give Warnia a gift just now? Warnia would be very happy with such an expensive gift. But why did Warnia just drive away? With doubts in his heart, he walked forward directly, patted Roger on the shoulder, and asked, "How was the talking with Warnia?" After that, seeing Roger still holding the bracelet in his hand, he asked in surprise, "Warnia took the gift?" Roger said with a sad face, "Dad, the broken bracelet that Warnia was wearing was actually a relic left to her by her mother. I didn't know. She also said that the bracelet was quite rubbish and not worthy of her temperament." Regner was also surprised. Immediately, he sighed and said to Roger, "You should have thought that with Warnia's identity, it is impossible to wear such a shabby bracelet. Since she wears it, there must be something hidden. It's too careless." Roger was about to cry, looked at his father, and said aggrieved, "Dad, you just praised me for my careful observation and purposefulness, and now I'm sloppy." Regner's old face blushed, and he hurriedly adjusted after a while, and said seriously, "You have indeed begun to observe the details, but the observation is not detailed enough. This time, we must learn from the lesson and don't make such mistakes again in the future." Roger sighed, "Well, I know, Dad." After he finished speaking, he said again, "By the way, Warnia actually drove to pick up someone's in person, and said that she was picking up some distinguished." "Dad, what distinguished guests could make the Song family take so seriously?" Regner frowned, "I don't know about this, but as far as I know, among the guests invited by the Song family this time, besides us, there are some Oris Hill partners and old friends from the world. There are no big people over here. That's weird." Roger muttered, "Did Warnia pick up her sweetheart?" "I'm not good at this." Regner asked, "You should pay more attention to see who she is coming back with." "Okay." At this moment, Warnia was driving to Charlie's home. Grandpa's birthday banquet, she should have helped at home, but she really missed Charlie, so she was thinking about picking him up personally, so that she and him could be alone on the road for a while. If Charlie arrives at Song's house, when the guests are around, there will be no chance for her to speak privately with him. Hearing that she went out to pick up Charlie, the old master Song naturally agreed without hesitation. Although Charlie is now married, he still regarded Charlie as the future son-in-law of the Song family. On the way, Warnia took out her mobile phone and prepared to call Charlie. Since today was the weekend, the family got up late, so Charlie prepared breakfast before 10 o'clock and put it on the table. Claire came out of the bedroom, stretched his waist, and asked Charlie, "Are you busy today?" Charlie said, I am going to a friend's birthday banquet at noon. After speaking, Charlie asked her, Wife, are you okay? Claire nodded and said, I want to buy something, but if you have things to do, I'll ask Elsa. Charlie said, I'm sorry, my wife, you go with Elsa first, and I will accompany you the next day. Claire smiled slightly, well, okay. The mother-in-law Elaine asked with a dark face, Oh, Charlie, do you have a friend in Oris Hill for a birthday? Are his young? Charlie nodded, it's 80. Elaine sneered, Are you now starting to use your silly set of things to deceive those old men who are about to fall into the ground? To deceive coffins. Charlie said lightly, I haven't lied to anyone. Still pretending? Elaine coldly snorted, Are there not a few big figures in Oris Hill who have been fooled by you? I tell you, I have already seen through your future. You are just like those quack masters from back then, waiting for your end. There are only two futures, either going to jail or being hunted down. Elaine has been watching Charlie with very upset eyes recently. The core factor is that Charlie donated all the money she lost to Lien and Horia to Project Hope. Now, her pockets are cleaner than her face. She has no money to renew the stored value card in the beauty salon. She doesn't know how to explain it to her husband or daughter if they find it out. In Elaine's eyes, Charlie was the culprit of all this. Therefore, she was naturally 10,000 unhappy with him. When Jacob heard that Elaine started targeting Charlie again, he hurriedly stood up and defended, I say, why are you like this? What did Charlie do, the old running man? How good Charlie has been during this time. What a shit. Elaine didn't know that when Jacob had a classmate gathering some time ago, he leaned on Charlie to pretend to be a force, and he was grateful for Charlie's gratitude. Seeing her husband taking side of Charlie, she immediately cursed, Jacob, don't be fooled by this guy, otherwise you don't know if you will be sold by him. Jacob was too lazy to talk to her. Instead, he handed his BMW car key to Charlie and said, Charlie, Dad has reserved a box in Classic Mansion tonight, and I will have a meal with the leaders of the Calligraphy and Painting Association. 2 cups, I can't drive, just take the car key and pick me up at Classic Mansion. Charlie nodded, took the car key, and asked, Dad, what time will I pick you up? Jacob said, we have an appointment for dinner at 7 o'clock. It will be over around 8:30 to 9 o'clock, so you can come to Classic Mansion at 8:30. Okay. As soon as Charlie agreed, Elaine got anxious and asked, Jacob, are you going to treat guests at Classic Mansion? Where did you get the money? Jacob didn't dare to say that Charlie gave him the money, so he concealed, do you care about so much? Anyway, you don't need to spend your money. Elaine said angrily, going to the worst box in Classic Mansion will cost 20,000 to 30,000. You have the money to burn. Jacob said angrily, I told you a long time ago, I want to compete with the executive director, what is a meal of 20 or 30,000? Besides, it won't cost you any money. Elaine was furious and blurted out, 20,000 is enough for me to go to the beauty salon to do several face and body treatments. You actually use the money to treat people for dinner. Jacob blurted out, you go to the beauty salon and spend 10,000 to 20,000 a month, and I didn't stop you. There are more than 2 million at home with you, you spend yours, I spend mine, I ask you for money. No, you still care where I get the money and where I spend. Elaine was suddenly stopped by Jacob. The 2 million people in the family are indeed in their own place, but now they have donated Project Hope. I don't even have money to go to the beauty salon to get facials. If 20,000 for food, how good would it be to make a face for yourself? Charlie saw Elaine's performance in his eyes and laughed in his heart. He knew that Elaine was very short of money now. She used to spend all kinds of money lavishly, but now she was exhausted, and she must be very uncomfortable. Now, Elaine must be even more depressed to see Jacob going to the classic mansion for a dinner. Sure enough, Elaine blurted out to Jacob and said, "No. You give me the money you want to eat." "Why?" Jacob was anxious, and blurted out, "Elaine, I warn you not to go too far. The money is in your hands, so you don't need to give it to me, but now you still want to ask me." There was a ghost in Elaine's heart, and she stubbornly said, "You can't go to a cheaper place? Even if you eat 10,000, you can give me another 10,000. Jacob got annoyed and said, "With so much money in your own hands, what do you have to do with this 10,000s? Too much." Elaine said angrily, "I don't care. If you don't give me 10,000 today, I won't let you eat. If you can get out of this door today, you will lose Elaine." "You are crazy." Jacob slapped his chopsticks on the table, and said angrily, "I warn you, Elaine, don't go too far. I finally got the president and the others out, and the place was chosen to inform them. If you keep me from getting off the stage, I will never finish this with you." No end, no end, who is afraid of whom? Elaine was also anxious, she really wanted to ask for 10,000 from Jacob. With this 10,000, she can at least renew the beauty card first, and in the afternoon she can go to make faces with a few old sisters. In the morning, everyone in the group made an appointment to go to the beauty salon together in the afternoon, but she has no money in the card, so she could only decline with the excuse of something. If Jacob gives the money, she could go and enjoy as usual. Jacob was almost crying in anger. He stood up, glared at Elaine, and said indignantly, "Elaine, why are you such an excessive person? The money at home is usually given to you, and I made hundreds of thousands of money from antiques. I have given it to you, you are still not satisfied? I tell you, don't push me too much." Elaine gritted her teeth and said, "Isn't it enough for 10,000 to eat a meal? Do you have to eat 20,000 worth in one day? I just want to curb your habit of extravagance and waste. I can't help your arrogance." Jacob said with a red eye, "Think about it for yourself, I only have some pocket money all year round. When have I been extravagant and wasteful? In my opinion, you are the one who is extravagant and wasteful. Look at your clothes and jewelry. You still buy it if you can't pile it up, it's endless." Elaine said angrily, "I have suffered so many grievances for marrying you. Are you unwilling to buy some clothes? Do you still have a conscience about it?" As she said, Elaine's tears came just as she said, and she choked up, "Back when you let me get pregnant first without marriage, I suffered so much cold eyes and ridicule from others. After marrying you, how much humiliation from your mother, have you imagined? Now you even dislike me for buying more clothes, you're really blind. Jacob's desire to die is gone. Back when she got pregnant when they were unmarried, she got him drunk and slept with him, okay? If it weren't for her to use this method, how could Mr. Jacob's first love go down to the United States in anger? She ruined his all life. He thought it was because of daughter's face, so he tolerated her. But now she doesn't even let him eat a meal. Isn't this too much? Thinking of this, Jacob shuddered and rebuked, Elaine, what did you do back then? Don't you know what you did? You still have the face to blame me. What did I do? I was pregnant with your baby. Elaine cried loudly, I was a famous girl of the university back then, you made me drunk and ruined me. You bullshit. Jacob was so embarrassed that he almost wanted to cry. For decades, he had been suffering in his heart. He didn't expect Elaine to even slap him down. How shameless is this woman? At this time, Claire was a little bit overwhelmed, and said, Dad and Mom, would you stop arguing? After finishing speaking, she said to Elaine again, Mom, don't embarrass Dad. He doesn't spend much money. Now he wants to treat some guests, why do you have to confront him? Elaine said, I still want to save some money for the family. 20,000 for a meal, is beyond our family means. After that, she glared at Jacob and said, you have to give this money today, or you have to give it even if you don't. Claire didn't know what Elaine thought. So she opened her mouth and said, Mom, don't embarrass Dad. Isn't it 10,000? I'll give it to you. Okay. Elaine immediately said excitedly, then transfer it to me on WeChat. Claire nodded, took out her mobile phone, and transferred 10,000 to Elaine. Elaine opened WeChat and clicked to receive the payment. After receiving the money, she grinned. After that, she immediately said in a group of 5, Sisters, I'm going joning in the afternoon too. Someone in the group asked, Hey, didn't you say something in the morning? Elaine hurriedly replied, I was going to go shopping, but my leg hurts a bit. If I don't want to go, I should go to the beauty salon to do facials and relax. Claire sighed helplessly when seeing her mother's eyes open. She didn't know that her mother had already lost all the family's savings. At this moment, Charlie's mobile phone on the desktop suddenly shook. It was Warnia who called. Charlie picked up the phone to answer and heard Warnia's gentle and pleasant voice, Mr. Wade, I will be at your house in 10 minutes. When will it be convenient for you? Charlie said, wait for a while. When the family finishes breakfast, I will come down after finishing the dishes. Well, then I am waiting for you at the gate of the community. Warnia couldn't help feeling a little distressed when she heard Charlie's answer. Mr. Wade is such a perfect man, he still needs to clean up the dishes at home? This is simply an insult to him. She couldn't help thinking in her heart that if Mr. Wade was with her, she wouldn't let him do any housework. After all, a man should go abroad to fight the world and be served meticulously by his wife when he returns home. How can he do housework at home? On the one hand, she felt strongly worthless for Charlie, and on the other hand, she was eager to be the woman who served Charlie at home. Charlie hung up the phone, and Claire said, Charlie, is your friend here to pick you up? Right. Charlie nodded, and said, "My friend's granddaughter just came over to pick me up." Claire hummed, without thinking about it, and said, "Then, you go and I will clean up the dishes and chopsticks. Don't let them wait too long." Charlie hurriedly said, "It is okay, wife, let her wait a while, I will leave after finishing packing." Claire hurriedly pushed him, and said, "Oh, let me take it. If you have anything to go, don't keep them waiting long." Seeing Claire's insistence, Charlie nodded and said, "That's okay, you have worked so hard, wife, I'll go now." "Go." Claire replied and asked him, "Since you are going to a friend's birthday banquet, are you ready with gifts?" Charlie snorted and said, "I'm ready." Claire hurriedly asked, "What gift are you preparing? Don't be too petty and dissatisfying." Charlie smiled slightly and said, "I have prepared a little something that I made by myself. It is polite and affectionate. My friend doesn't care about money, and I believe he will like it very much." "That's good." Claire nodded and said with a smile, "If this is the case, then you go quickly." "Okay." Charlie got up and put on an ordinary coat, said goodbye to Claire and his father-in-law, and went straight out of the house. As soon as Charlie left, Elaine put down her mobile phone on her back, and said to Claire with a serious face, "Claire, why are you getting used to Charlie now? What's the use of his waste besides doing housework? I usually want him to do more housework. Is it not okay for you to even let him do the housework?" Claire hurriedly said, "Mom, if Charlie has something to do, let him go. I will take care of things like cleaning up the bowls and chopsticks. I will do it later. It's no big deal." Elaine blurted out, "That's not what I said. This man is just like raising a dog. If you restrict him from beginning to end, he will not dare to poop and pee at home, go to bed, or bite on furniture. He will wag tail when he sees you." "As he said," Elaine said very solemnly, "but if you relax a little bit of discipline, it will not only push your nose to your face, maybe someday will bite you back. Look at your dad who asked me to discipline over the years. Is he not obedient?" When Jacob heard this, his expression was so ugly, he cursed in his heart, You, the stinky lady, treat me like a dog." However, Jacob also dared not say anything to her, and could only endure what he was upset about. Claire glanced at her father sympathetically, and said helplessly, "Mom, I cleaned up the dishes and going out." After speaking, she ignored Elaine, took the bowls and chopsticks into the kitchen. Through the kitchen window of Claire's house just happened to be able to see the entrance of the community, so she was washing the dishes, while subconsciously looking out the window, she saw her husband Charlie, walking outside the door. Charlie didn't know that his wife Claire was looking at him from the kitchen. When he came outside the gate of the community, he saw a red Rolls-Royce Phantom parked at the gate of the community. Immediately afterwards, a woman with noble temperament, beautiful face, and slender legs emerged from the car. This woman was the eldest lady of the Song family, Warnya. Today Warnya is wearing a red customized dress, the whole person looks more beautiful, and it vividly sets off the temperament of the eldest daughter of the big family. She dressed up today and said it was for Grandpa's birthday celebration, but it was actually for Charlie. After all, a woman is a person who pleases herself. This sentence has not changed since ancient times. She hopes that Charlie can pay attention to her beauty and care more about her. Seeing Warnya, Charlie couldn't help but look up and down, and couldn't help being surprised. This is not the first time Charlie has seen Warnya's beauty, but he still couldn't help but give a compliment and said, "Warnya, you are dressed beautifully today." Warnya looked at Charlie affectionately, and when she heard this, she couldn't help but pounding like a deer. Her face also showed the shame of a little woman. She couldn't help holding the skirt, and turned slightly in front of Charlie, and said, "Do you really think my dress is beautiful?" Charlie smiled faintly, "Of course it's very beautiful, very in line with your temperament." Warnya became more embarrassed, and the roots of her ears became hotter. Afterwards, Warnya bowed very respectfully, and at the same time said with some shame, "Thank you, Mr. Wade, for your praise." Charlie smiled slightly and said, "You have worked so hard to pick me up." Warnya hurriedly said, "Yes, it is our Song family's honor that you attend Grandpa's birthday banquet." Having said that, Warnya hurriedly trot for 2 steps, took the initiative to open the door of the co-pilot, bowed slightly, made a gesture to Charlie, and blushed, "Mr. Wade, please get in the car." Charlie nodded, and got into the car directly without being polite to Warnya. If someone sees that the famous daughter of the Song family, Ms. Warnya in Oris Hill, taking the initiative to open the door to a young man, their jaws will drop. However, Charlie felt that, no matter from which aspect, he deserved Warnya to open the door for him. In terms of identity, he is the son of the Wade family, much stronger than her or even the entire Song family. In terms of strength, he is Mr. Wade. Even Warnya's grandfather must be respectful to him, so it is natural for Warnya to open a car door for himself. Charlie didn't know, this scene happened to be seen clearly by Claire. Claire had met Warnya. When her studio opened, Warnya especially came to congratulate him. When she saw Warnya last time, Claire felt like she was inferior to her in everything. In terms of family background, appearance, temperament, ability, and financial resources, she can't compare herself to her. It feels like she has met a stunning beauty who is stronger than her in every aspect. Claire feels a little embarrassed. But she didn't expect that Warnya, who is famous throughout Oris Hill, would be so respectful to her husband. Not only did she drive to the door of her house to pick him up, even opened the door for him. Why is she so polite to her husband? Thinking of this, Claire suddenly felt a little sour, and she turned out to be jealous. A thought came into her heart, this Warnya, does she like Charlie? However, the next moment, she felt that her idea was too absurd. Who is Warnya? She is the daughter of the Song family. Family assets exceed 100 billion. Where's her husband? Just a vagrant. Even if he had some mysterious skills in fortune-telling now, it was impossible to compare with the daughter of a big family, someone like Warnya. However, since it is impossible for her to see her husband, why is she so polite to her husband? Claire couldn't figure out this question, and was inexplicably irritable. At this time, Warnya had started Rolls-Royce and left with Charlie. Claire looked at the luxury cars that were gradually going away, even more uncomfortable in her heart. Is there really something unspeakable about the two of them? She subconsciously took out her mobile phone, trying to call Charlie, but as soon as she took out the mobile phone, she hesitated again. After much deliberation, she decided that after Charlie came back, she would find another opportunity to ask him carefully. As for now, let's not be aggressive. After all, it is a husband and wife, and she has to give him a minimum of trust and respect. Join our Facebook and WhatsApp group for more updates, link is given in description. Rest audiobook will be continued in next episode.